What's up, everybody? Welcome to The Conversation, a Crosspoint City young adults podcast created to help young adults have conversations about Jesus and what it looks like to follow him. My name is Ansley, and this is my good friend, Darian.
Wow. What's up, girl?
Nothing much. It's been a minute since we got to do this together.
I'm excited.
Me too. We don't have our notes.
I know. Hey, y'all, be patient. We're winging it today, okay?
We're going to have a straight-up conversation.
Yep, we are. Well, pun intended.
And we're talking about how can we become good listeners, right?
Yeah.
Did I get that right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I was listening. Yeah, I was.
That's good. Okay, so in Carlos's message at the young adults gathering, he talked about how we can become, we can intentionally, what is it? As we become more like Jesus, we will become, he talked about better listeners.
Yeah.
We will share we'll be intentional about sharing the gospel.
Yeah.
We'll be intentional about eating with people. What are the two I'm forgetting?
Serving in love.
Serving.
And share a story.
That's beautiful.
Bless, B-L-E-S-S.
Yeah.
That's how you remember it.
Yeah, but in today's episode, we're talking about how to be good listeners.
Yeah.
So, Darian, why is it important for someone to be intentional about becoming a good listener?
I think of two things off the top of my head. I think one is care and two is conflict resolution.
Okay.
First, I'm growing in active listening. Carlos will call me out all the time on my great listening skills and note-taking skills. But I think the first thing with active listening is just sitting with people. It makes me think of the passage in James. I think it was James. Or is it Proverbs? Where it talks about, it is James, where it says, be slow to speak but quick to listen.
Yes. Slow to be angry.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's a good point too, which we can tie into the conflict resolution side of listening. But I think whenever you just pause to sit with people, it shows that you care and it shows that you're humble enough to not make it about you.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes when people do the most talking in the room, I think there can be some pride there.
Wow.
And I also think there can be some selfishness sometimes, not all the time.
Yeah.
But when you're sitting with people, I think it just said, hey, I'm not going to make this about me. I just want to be with you and love you and listen to what you have to say.
Definitely. That's good.
Yeah. And with the conflict side, I would say when you're asking questions and you're just listening, I think it shows people that you aren't on the defense, that you're like, hey, I truly want to find a solution here.
Oh, that's good.
I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. I forgot what the question even was, and I asked it, but why is it important, I guess?
Yeah, like why is listening with intentionality important?
Oh, man, I mean, you hit the nail on the head to care for the person right in front of you.
Yeah.
I mean, people just want to be seen and they want to be heard. And we do have the hope of the gospel. We have the Holy Spirit. And so if an alarm just went off. Sorry about that. I got distracted. If we are good listeners and just process with people and give them encouragement, we actually have the hope that they really need.
Yeah.
So it's important for us to listen to people.
Well, and I think you're a really good example of listening in the sense of you are such an encourager. And I feel like to be an encourager, you have to listen and really get to know people. So I'm curious from your perspective, what do you think just like fuels you to be such an encourager as like you listen to people and what they're going through and things like that?
I just know how much it has mattered to me. When you're walking through a season and someone sends a text, hey, I've been praying for you about this situation. I really want to get an update on what's happening with this. That matters so much. That is a game changer. You know who I think of?
Who?
Our friend, Cindy Savaro.
Oh, Cindy.
She is such a good, she always like follows up and just cares. And when she's with me, she is so present and she wants to hear all the details.
Yeah.
And it reflects the Lord. It reflects who the Lord is to us, that he's our Father in heaven who cares about all of the things.
Yeah.
And so may we reflect that to other people, that we really do care about the person in front of us.
Yeah.
Listening's hard for me because I'm a deeply impatient person, extremely impatient.
Yeah.
There's a personality or work assessment that we do, and my patience shows that I'm very impatient. Whereas my husband, when he took the test, he is extremely patient. And you can tell by the way he's present with people. I mean, he'll sit with somebody all day long and talk with them. Whereas I'm thinking about what's the next thing.
Yeah, you gotta get stuff done.
Getting stuff done, and you can absolutely miss people when you're in that headspace.
Yeah.
I heard Carlos recently say we must create margin in our lives to sit with people and listen to people. Something I've seen within my group, it's like been a theme. A few of them have reached out and said, hey, can we just go get coffee? I'd love to talk. And we can either see that as, oh my goodness, when am I going to get around to doing that? But I think those appointments are far more important than anything else we fill our lives with.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know, as you were saying about like filling in the margins, just the times where Jesus, I think when we had been talking with Carlos, he gave the example of the gentleman whose daughter, I think it was his daughter. I don't remember if it said it was his daughter or son, but he had a child.
Jairus?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where he had a sick child and Jesus was on the way to go heal. And then there's a woman that stopped Jesus on the way too. But Jesus, I mean, I think in that moment, one, it goes to show the confidence of Jesus just in the power of the Holy Spirit and just, I think as Christians, we can look to Jesus as an example of like, hey, if the Lord wants to get a work done, it's going to happen. Amen. And we don't need to rush it.
Yeah.
And we just need to be with the people that the Lord puts in front of us. Ooh. And in that moment, that woman was who was in front of Jesus. I mean, he was still on the way to go heal that child, but he paused to be with the woman because she also needed him. So I think, because I'm also a task-driven person and I also have low patience, but then it's like when I look back, I'm like, okay, is the task more important or is the person in front of me that Lord's put in front of me more important?
It's how we view it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's also where we have to have like the heart check of why is it pride? Is it selfishness? What is it that's causing us to almost bulldoze over people or kind of blinders to the people around us?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think when you have those impatient moments that you said, like, what do you think can result in that?
Well, something I'm thinking of as you talk is, what am I chasing? I actually don't even know the answer. Is it that I've achieved all these tasks at the end of the day? I don't know what I'm chasing that makes me so go, go, go. Maybe it's a cultural thing that everybody around me is getting so much done, so maybe I need to. But I need to daily, like Carlos said, the word intentional is so key. Yeah. Intentionally think. There's nothing to chase. And I love what you just said about seeing those things that pop up, not as an inconvenience, not as a mistake, but as something that maybe the Lord put in place.
Yeah. There's a book by Jenny Allen. I think it's called Get Out of Your Head, where she talks about, oh my gosh, I just lost it. Basically talking about, when you're dealing with someone or situation, just asking, is this going to matter in heaven? Ooh. Or like, does this have eternal impact? And I think when you're operating with people or a situation that comes up, I think that's where we have to pause and be like, okay, this is a person and people are eternal. And more importantly, this is an image bearer of God. And so I need to steward this person and this interaction knowing that this is an image bearer of God and that the Lord loves them. Yeah. But I also think we have to be humble enough to be like, the Lord's allowing me to partner with him in ministering to this person.
What an honor.
Yeah. And it's a blessing to us to bless other people. Yeah. And I think we just have to be humble in that.
Yeah. Anytime somebody says that one time that you listened to me and you walked with me, that is of so much more importance than any task we can complete on our to-do list.
Yeah.
So listening matters.
It does. Intentional interactions and listening with people just shows that you care. I think that's the biggest takeaway. And it shows that you are striving to be like Jesus.
Yeah, and how his heart is towards us. Mm-hmm. He bends his ear towards us and cares for us, so we need to do the same for others. Yeah. Anything else on listening?
I think we just need to be like Jesus. He did it the best.
So good. That's so good. Okay. Well, with that being said, we love you guys, and we'll see you next episode.